Hi, this is Chris Brown, RPT of Grandwork Tools, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about my hammer preparation. First of all, the regulation is hammer preparation, really, and part of that regulation is with the squaring platform, a shank traveler and a hammer square. I make the travel of each shank vertical and the disposition of the hammer as it's striking the strings vertical. That simplifies the transfer of power and the bounce off of the strings and improves the tone, the repetition, and the power. When I've done that work on the squaring platform, I then shift to using it's a piece of rock maple bridge capping material that I've routed out a little section. Don't know if you can see it, but it's just a channel that catches on the top of the back checks. And it's designed to be approximately at string height, although for this operation that's not important. But if I were to do my pre-voicing on the panel of the squaring platform, it would get all dented and damaged and maybe bent, I don't know, depending on how much force I use. Whereas this piece of rock maple is supported by the back checks through the keys, the key bed, and the whippings, and will not have that problem. Okay, so I do a couple of things. One is I put 2 shots in each shoulder with a single needle voicing tool. And I try and put them in a consistent line. And toward that end, I find a piece of blue painter's tape useful. I just apply it to where I want to have my shots go, just above. I already did the first hammer, so I'm going to start with the second hammer. Now, this takes some strength to do. And it's a fair amount of work, times 88. But it's a relatively small amount of work compared to what many people recommend. And I find that it comes remarkably close to the voicing that I want, coupled with the very consistent regulation, which includes consistent friction, particularly in the hammer centers. And also particularly in the keys. The keys need to not have erratic friction. And then a good way off. Anyway, with those components, and even, particularly if you have custom boring, so you have a consistent regulation, then you end up with very good control for the player and an even touch. That all contributes to a good tone. But anyway, so here's a step, and I do this to both sides, and there are little places where the injection has created marks, you know, little tufts. I think, you know, apart from it improving the look of that a little bit, it also disperses the effect that I just made by opening things up a bit. It kind of spreads it around. For time's sake, I will do this afterwards off camera, but I'll show you the compass needle part. This goes right on the crown, and I can feel where it's hard, and that is exactly what I'm going after. And the dullness of the compass needle and its angle relative to a voicing needle means that it only goes in so far, and it sort of compacts what's underneath the tip and opens up what's on the surface. And then we go through, and a version of this, I put just as many whacks on the top with the round surface of my tool as I put injections on the top, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so I try and relax my hand, keep my elbow stable, and try and give the same a number. Occasionally I miss. That isn't great, but it's inevitable when you're on camera. Now it depends on the quality of the felt on the crown of the hammer as to how hard you do this and how many times you do it. And of course you can do it again. And what I want is just something that is going to sound good when I put the action in the piano. It will probably brighten up just a little with playing. That's okay. That's good. More can be done later as needed. This process can also be done in other parts of the surface of the hammer, depending on what you find for individual hammers in the piano. But as a group, this works really nicely. Again, I'm dispersing and settling. Hopefully evening the shape back up. One whack might distort it a little bit, but the multiples settle it into the shape that it was filed to. And that's another reason for doing the pre-voicing, is that I want to do as little as possible after that hammer fit. And the stringed hammer fit needs to be done at pitch and in tune, ultimately. So the first round may start off with a bit of a pitch raise and you go through it, but in the end, a real fit is a fit in tune at pitch when we're all done. So, when I'm done with this other side, I will go through and do a final filing pass, which won't take long at all up here. It takes a little bit longer down here, but mostly it's to make sure that my crowns at strike are horizontal to the verticality of the hammers and their travel.